class, but they're going to come and they're going to play tough. They can try to establish the run. They protect the ball. They don't make too many mistakes. Defense is savvy. They're going to force you to do some things you don't want to do. It's going to be a great contest.
Everybody says it's a different experience, but I've experienced some crazy stadiums since being here. So just knowing that, not trying to overhype it, honestly.
Cold harsh truth. They're still hot buns, though.
Matt B. Diddley only watches SEC football. Yeah, you're getting exposed. A sad revelation today as we found out everybody's favorite football commentator, Matt B. Vandy, he doesn't watch football. So he just recently put out a video talking about how Colorado is about to get humbled by Georgia Tech, which is very funny because there hasn't really been a lot of hype around Colorado. Like, what have you seen people say? The only thing that they've talked about is, sadly, Deion Sanders' diagnosis and get over with, right? And everybody's been talking about Shador and all this other stuff. So I don't know why he thinks he needs to be humbled. This is the only thing that we've heard when it comes to hype about Colorado this
Everybody
year.
says it's a different experience, but I've experienced some crazy stadiums since being here. So just knowing that, not trying to overhype it, honestly. Like it's another game. I know they bring out celebrities, they do all this crazy stuff, but we're playing football. Then none of them playing. They can hype you up all they want to, but you on the field, not them.
Now, some Colorado fans took that as a shot. I took that as just more of a proclamation. A little bit of Dan Lanning in there. I don't know. But at the same time, it seemed like he was just trying to talk about the outside and less about the players. So again, even in that call out, not allowed to say. So what does Matt B. Vandy have to say? Let's hear about it, man. Hey, and I hope this is
Ladies
fair
and
use,
gentlemen,
by
boys
the
and
way.
girls, hope all of you have a
Matt
great
B.
start to
Vandy.
your week. Hope all of you having a great Monday. If not, hope this video can make it a little bit better. And man, oh man, we got to talk about, we got the 2-for-1 special on the intro. Some of you are going to remember this. Some of you may not. Another night, another prime time video. We got to talk about the Colorado Buffaloes and Georgia Tech, the nerds. If you would have told me 3 to 4 years ago, Matt, you're going to be making a video on Colorado versus Georgia Tech, I'd say you've lost your mind. Ain't no way. But here we are. I'm not going to label this as the preview / prediction video. I haven't made up in my mind if we're going to do that. Let me know in the comment section if we have enough Colorado fans watching this video and whatnot. Do y'all want to see a separate preview for this game? For those of you that do not know, this will not be played on Saturday. It will be played on Friday night. Let me double check. Hold on. I'm going to pull it up to be exact. What time are they playing this game? Hold on. Colorado Buffalo. They lost a lot of their big-time players, and it's most definitely going to affect them heading into this new season. As to who's going to replace Shador Sanders, who's going to be the QB1 for Colorado Buffaloes, I don't know. They still haven't.
We do officially know that it is Caden Salter, so I will give him credit. He did make that before the announcement was made. And we'll talk a little bit about Caden Salter in this video because he's going to say some crazy shit about Caden Salter. And then, we'll get into it.
Now, the starting quarterback. If I had to give you my best edge for day, we'll probably talk about it heading into the second quarter. Then maybe you consider bringing in Juju Lewis. That is definitely going to be something to pay attention to. But also at the wide receiver position, they've lost a ton of production. So who's going to step up in that area? On the offensive side of the
Okay, so this is where I need to stop you, okay? Because did they lose a lot of production? Sure. A lot of that production, though, was LeJante and Travis. Like, that was it. Jimmy Horn was hurt. And I don't know if y'all know. I don't know how much y'all know, but Colorado got some demons at wide receiver now. Like, they got them a few flavors. Do I have the wide receivers over here? I think I only have the defensive linemen. But they've got true freshmen, obviously, Quanell Farrakhan. They've got true freshman state champion Quentin Gibson. The transfer Sincere Brown, who's about 6'5", and talk about returning Amarion Miller, also Draylon Miller, and Draylon Miller has been beefed up. He might be playing some running back. Like, I get where he's coming at. Did you lose like substantial players? And is it hard to replace a Jimmy Horn, LeJante, and Travis Hunter? Almost impossible, right? But to say that they didn't at least try with they have so many wide receivers. If you've been watching the offseason videos, they picked up a bunch of transfers. They picked up freshmen. You have 2 true freshmen who they think they can play. Oh, other freshmen. Oh my God, Joseph Williams, the jump ball guy, right? And then Amarion Miller, who was one of the smoothest wide receivers when he was healthy. So I don't know about all that. I think they're going to get returning players that should have been healthy. But go ahead, Matt.
The ball, not defensive, but offensive side of the ball, there's a ton of unknowns. And also their offensive coordinator, Pat Shermer, and let's just say the fan base are not too fond of him. He's definitely going to be catching some heat if the offense isn't clicking. As far as it goes for a defensive side of the ball, this isn't complicated. This isn't disrespect. It's just how I see it. Colorado will never be, as long as Coach Prime is there, a defensive football team.
So okay. So, and the reason why I'm stopping this is because he doesn't give any reasoning for it. But I remember I watched this, and at first I was like, okay, that's interesting. But then I let it keep playing. I'm like, why does he think that? Because, like, why? Why would a cornerback, a legendary cornerback, never have a defensive-minded team? His most high profile playing wise, if you don't count, well, first before Marshall Faulk, coach was Warren Sapp on the defensive side. So so where are you even getting that from? This is not even like a fact. I mean, this is more of an opinion thing because he just has an opinion that he doesn't think that they're going to be an offensive school or a defensive school. But what makes you think that? Like he's a defensive player, but. Continue.
The defense was hot bunzos when he first got there. Mm-hmm. And I hate to say it, but it's the cold, harsh truth. They're still hot bunzos.
And now we get to facts. And this is where we figure out that Matt B. Diddley only watches SEC football. Yeah, you're getting exposed. Sorry about it. So let's take a look at Georgia Tech's defense, huh? How about we take a peek at Georgia Tech's defense? Now, as you can see, Georgia, and this is last year's stats, just to be specific. So we're just going off last year, okay? Just going off last year. Georgia Tech has a defensive opponents allows opponents to score per game. They're ranked 75. Obviously, this out of the 134 FBS teams. Opponents yards a game, 54. Opponents points per play, number 95. Opponents yards a play, number 98. Opponents third down conversions, number 34, which is actually not bad. And then red zone scoring, number 94 in the nation. Now, do rankings mean everything? No, they don't mean everything. And did he say that Georgia Tech had an amazing defense? No, but there's a reason why I brought this up. You're telling me the defense out of, again, 134 FBS teams that ranks in opponents' points per game, number 32, opponents' yards a game, number 35, opponents' points of play, number 22, opponents' yards of play, number 17, third down conversions, kind of sloppy, number 38. But the most, I have to say, and this is something that we talked about because we actually watched the games and we reviewed the games. Go back and watch them. The most astonishing thing that we always talked about, right, is that they were always top 10 in red zone scoring. And I'm happy that it stayed at number 6. At one point, there were 3. They were number 2 in the nation in opponents' red zone scoring. So not only were they a much improved defensive unit, they were a defensive unit that was top 10 in stopping opponents in the red area. And the only other blemish is the third down conversions, because if you were watching with us that season, the two biggest things that typically determined wins were going to be opponent and your red zone scoring, right? So like your own red zone scoring and the opponent's red zone stopping you scoring, right? Number 6 for that, and third down conversions, which they're not that great at, and they're also really not good at on the offensive side. So where are you getting that from? Mind you, it would be different if, maybe Colorado got blown out a bunch. They didn't. I think the only game they got blown out was BYU. Am I right? We're not fact checking that. Yeah, I don't feel like fact checking right now. But I'm thinking about K-State that went down to the wire. Obviously Baylor, but they won that game. I'm thinking about the other one. Kansas was that was a nasty one, right? Nebraska. Oh, Nebraska was ugly. But they're a 9-4 team. They won 9 games. Why is everyone acting like? Did everybody just stop in 2023 after 4-8? They just like, this is the version that we're always gonna remember of Colorado. Dog, that's not what the stats say. Like, I'm sorry. It's not only is there is no overhyping. Nobody is saying that Colorado is going to be amazing and great and all. Nobody's saying that. Nobody's even saying that. So why do they need to be humbled? I don't understand. But if you're going to say they need to be humbled, how about have some facts? How about have like some reasoning behind what you're saying? Because right now you're just saying shit. You just, one of the greatest defensive players of all time in the NFL, never going to be able to coach a defensive team. I mean, shout out to DJ McKinney, who's looked at as a prospect, but again, doesn't pay attention, doesn't keep up with things. So understandable, good, cool. But let's keep going.
Well, they show some flashes of greatness, sure. But all in all, not a good defensive team. There's nothing that's really unknown there. Like, let me ask you a question. Be for real. If Colorado gives up 40 to Georgia Tech, as a Colorado fan, I'm asking you, would you be shocked? Heck to the no. So that's why there's no unknowns on the defensive side of the ball. Nothing's going to shock you. But on the offensive side of the ball, that's where the conversation and debate starts to heat up. Because if one of you in the comment section were to say, Matt, I think there's a case and scenario where the quarterback plays not good against Georgia Tech and they struggle to even score 10 points. I'd say, yeah, I can see that happening. But on the other side of it, if one of you commented, Matt, I think Caden Salter or Julian Lewis are going to go out there, ball out, Colorado's going to put up 45 points, I could also see that happening. But going back to the defense, do I think there's a planet in this galaxy where Colorado is going to completely shut down the Yellow Jackets? Heck to the no. It's not going to happen. Watch. It won't. They're not a defensive football team. It is what it is. I know they brought in Warren Sapp and some other good coaches, and Colorado's got a decent coaching staff, believe it or not, but they're just never going to be a defensive team. I can't dumb it down any more than that. If Colorado wants to win some games this year, more importantly, win this game against Georgia Tech, you're going to have to outscore them. Now, here's where things get interesting, and it's the main focal point of this video. I think Georgia Tech is going to humble Colorado. Here's why. Pop quiz with your boy Matt. Do you know who Georgia Tech's quarterback is? I'll give you a second. Haynes King, the same quarterback who played out of his mind against Georgia and should have won.
The same quarterback who can't throw for shit. He got injured, and there was a game where they literally had a 2-quarterback system. They brought Haynes King in to run, and they had to use the true freshman to throw the ball because he literally fucking couldn't do it. He's a glorified running back. Now, this is not disrespect to Haynes King, because Haynes King's a dog. let me sit up and say this. Haynes King is a dog. But again, I watched a lot of Georgia Tech games. He's going to talk about Jamal Haynes. Jamal Haynes is a dog as well. He's the running back. Haynes King is a dog. He's a problem. The thing about Haynes King, because I don't think, he's going to describe anything football-wise, why he likes Haynes King. So let me explain. Haynes King is not a speed runner. He's a power runner. Kind of like a Rocco Beck, right? Where he's a methodical runner. He wants to get 4 or 5. He wants to get 3. He wants to convert a first down. He is a quarterback that's going to grind you out in the running game. And Georgia Tech's offensive scheme with Coach Key, it makes it nasty. I'm talking about quarterback bash counters, quarterback what's it called, whams, quarterback insane orbit motion, quarterback draws, double pass motion. Like they are going to running the ball. It is like a Rubik's cube with them. That is one thing that I'm not going, as a Colorado enjoyer, because I also like Georgia Tech, and I'm in the Atlanta area. I actually have a Georgia Tech hat. I mess with Georgia Tech. I think they're gonna be a good team. They are a scary running team. Now, when it comes to throwing the ball, that's a whole different conversation. And I think he's probably going to talk about it. But you talk about losing talent. Georgia Tech just lost one of the best receivers in the nation in Nick Singleton. Like, why is that? And not to the NFL, to transfer. That's what that was. So, I mean, this is gonna look like a old school Georgia Tech team. Y'all might as well just be in the wing tee at this point. You know what I'm saying? But no, they got plenty of talent and plenty of things. But I don't think he's gonna tell you the full the full story, which is, yes, he's a great runner, a power runner. He's a between attacker runner, but there's a lot to be desired in the pass game. But hey, if they can run good enough, there you go.
Won that game. We're not talking about Oregon. We're not talking about some former Pac-12 teams now Big Ten. No. We're not talking about Washington. No. Georgia, the cream of the crop, one of the best programs in all of college football, and he went out there and ran all over.
Yeah, he went out there and in 8 overtimes. This is where I'm gonna end this because, and yes, he ran a bunch. He ran a lot of yards. Yes, and in 8 overtimes, could not beat them. 8 overtime, and I was Georgia fans were mad at me because I was like, "Yo, Georgia, shout out to Georgia Tech. They went crazy, man. That's so crazy. They were robbed." And they were like, "Dog, 8 overtimes, and you couldn't beat them." But hey, you ran a bunch. Cardio's great. Dude, buddy can run a mile. I bet he has a 7-minute mile pace, dog. Didn't beat Georgia though, so I'm proud. That's like as a Texas fan, the Arizona State fans and the Texas haters. Oh well, Arizona State almost beat you. Well, dope. I didn't know they gave out almost fucking trophies. Did they do that? I didn't know that. Let me know. Give me one of them almost ones, dog. I was almost an NFL player. I played high school football. I was almost an NFL player. Get that shit out of here. Anyway, let's talk about some actual actual things, man. Actual things, man. Right. So we talk about the matchup. I want to speak about a few things. Right? I want to talk about, again, some actual substance to this. And I'm going to give a prediction. And I might do an extra video, but in this, I'm going to have my prediction. Now, this is what I look at. Now, I compiled a few stats because, again, I already made a video speaking about, how I feel about Georgia Tech versus, Georgia Tech versus Colorado. But now I'm going to go ahead and give you a few of those things and kind of give you some context now because, again, Matt B. Vandy just kind of went off vibes and what he thought. He doesn't have any facts to back it up. So let's go back. So now the first thing I did was I said, hey, what's the biggest transfer portal losses, right? The biggest transfer portal losses is obviously wide receiver Eric Singleton for Georgia Tech. And then for Colorado, I said it has to be Colton Hood. Colton Hood and DJ McKinney are both looked at to be as potential NFL cornerbacks, right? 5'11", 190, transfers to Tennessee. Now they did get a few players from Tennessee, but we're going to get into that in just a second. And then let's talk about the transfer rankings for both of these teams. So if we're going to talk about what they gained and what they lost, let's really talk about it. So Georgia Tech lost for what's it called? It's wait. I'm reading the wrong thing. My fault. I'm reading the wrong thing. These are the rankings for the AZC transfer portal team rankings. Georgia Tech is number 6. So they are number 6 in the world of ACC. Now, I believe this is the Greater Transfer Portal Index, right? If I'm right. Yeah, so this is the Greater Transfer Portal Index, right? So they 24 transfers in, 31 transfers out for Georgia Tech at 63. And that same rate is the same thing, right? 31 transfers in, right? Did I get that right? Yeah, 31 transfers in. Did have 37 transfers out though. That is a lot of numbers. But again, ranked number 23 in this same index, right? And then this is a ranking for the Big 12. Georgia Tech is 6th amongst their rankings in their conference, while Colorado comes in at number 5 for their transfer ranking. So again, pretty similar. If not, I'd argue that Colorado did much better in the transfer portal because their biggest loss is a corner. And again, Georgia Tech's biggest loss is one of their more explosive weapons on offense. So just something to put in perspective, something to think about. Now the most impactful transfers, right? I thought this one was funny too because there is a Colorado player that transferred to Georgia Tech, so I think that's going to be interesting. Watch out for Savion Riley. I don't know if he's going to get a start. But the most impactful transfers for Georgia Tech have to be Mr. What's his name? Eric Rivers. So he's 5'11", 175, recorded 1,162 yards and 12 touchdowns as a redshirt junior in 2024 with FIU. He became the first ever AP All-American in FIU history and was named first team All-Conference USA. So now he isn't the same profile. He isn't, I think Eric Singleton's like a 6'1", 6'2" type guy. That's a burner, but a super burner 5'11" is probably not too bad. I don't know much about him, but he seems to be a bit of a dog. Again, he's a historical player already in the world of Conference USA. And then for the Buffaloes, again, and this is where I talk about, like, at the beginning of the video, hey, Matt B. Vandy, we love you right here, right? Keep having terrible takes. You might spawn a whole new little series for me. We just gonna react to you saying awful things. But appreciate you because you do make some fun content, and you know what I'm saying. Sometimes it's a good time, and I do think you're a nice guy. I don't think you meant anything by it. I don't think you hate DEION or anything like that. But man, you talk about losing, an impact player. How about gaining Tulsa wide receiver, who was the ACC Freshman of the Year, Mr. Joseph Williams? And again, we've watched the at least the camp tape, and he goes up and gets that thing, dog. He's a problem. He's an issue, right? Now, the other thing that I took issue with was the whole Caden Salter conversation that he had. Like, I don't think he said it, but if you later on in the video, he kind of talks bad about Caden Salter, and maybe we'll do a whole separate video about that since he is officially named the starting quarterback. But we've, a few months back, we went through his full story, right? Used to be at Tennessee, and then transferred to Liberty in Tennessee, obviously, had a historic year. And then obviously now he is here with Colorado. So there's a lot to be expected, a lot to be thought of for Mr. Caden Salter. So congratulations, Colorado, to y'all's new QB1. Congratulations, Matt B. Vandy, for being hilarious. And again, if y'all want me to revive the new defensive linemen, they got some beef up front. The new offensive linemen from Illinois, from Tennessee. If y'all want to talk about that, we can talk about it. But we've talked about it ad nauseum. But I promise you, I don't think Colorado is going to be some crazy undefeated team. But I tell you what, they've been slowly building a bit of a problem over there, and the Big 12 is going to be looking really interesting. So y'all let me know how you feel about Georgia Tech versus Colorado. I have this coming down to a very, very close game, but because it's at home, give me Colorado 3 points. By a field goal. It's going to be tight. I like Georgia Tech a lot, but the way people are talking about Colorado, I really do think they think that this is the 2023 team. Like I think that's what y'all think. But they've got some depth. They've got some quality. They've got some new pieces. So I wouldn't be surprised. But Georgia Tech's a real team, and everybody believes that. But y'all let me know how you feel down below in the comments. Like the video if you like it, dislike if you don't. Subscribe if you like football content of all shapes, sizes, forms, and fashions. Continue to be phenomenal and amazing and everything else in between, man. We'll see you next time. Peace.